Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the
Lume Plotters, and we have our very first repeat guest.
Yes.
I'm making
again.
a comeback.
Yes.
Ooh.
So you might recognize him from his very, what was the word, gritty voice that you use?
Is it my shiny head?
So back again, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Mahmoud Abu Gabal, and the guys here, they invited me the first time when I went to Watches and Wonders, and here I'm back. I promise I'll be back. So
This is, I think, 30 episodes later, right?
Yeah.
But he came for a very specific purpose, and we'll start with this. What's on your wrist?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I just picked this up last weekend, and I'm also told I'm the first to do so. I've got my IWC Ingenieur in Aqua.
First one in UAE.
Oh, hot. Yes, I think we have done a mall walk episode, right, Martin?
Yes.
The two of us.
Oh, we did go, yeah.
We went and actually saw all of these, the three different models when they had them on display.
I think they didn't have the three. They only had white and black, if I'm not mistaken. I can relook at the picture, but
I don't know. But anyhow, we had
they were prototypes.
We had a strong opinion at the time, right?
We liked them.
Great watch, just too expensive.
Yeah.
But now, personally, I have mellowed down a bit because in the last couple of months, every brand in the world has increased their prices by up to 40-50% sometimes for some models. So now it doesn't seem to be as bad anymore.
And IWC haven't raised the prices this year. They've raised it, I think, 3 times last year, but this year they kept it that they are.
I think everybody's reached like peak price, so it's a little bit tough. But ultimately, so what was retail on it?
41,300 dirhams.
And just in comparison, a Reverso goes for 40 now. A plain Polaris GLC goes for 38. A sub is around 40 as well, right? So
I've got even a better point of reference, which is another Richemont brand. So if you look at Piaget, the Piaget Polo is now, I think, 48,000.
Right.
Yeah, and you can also look at the Chopard Alpine Eagle, which is in the 50s, I think.
Yeah, but I always felt that Piaget was above IWC in the list. As a movement maker, as a brand.
As a brand, yes, but you'd be surprised what kind of movement is in the Polo because it's a Cartier movement.
Yes, it's the same as in my Vacheron Constantin.
Exactly.
I mean, base movement.
Yes,
of course.
Assembled
and finished and all of the stuff and regulated by the brand, and they just get the parts and they make it all lovely. But yeah, the Piaget Polo is the same movement. It's a Cartier 1904 MC, I think.
Is it the one that's in the mine? Or no, the mine's 1857.
Yes, that's a different one.
That's a different one, yeah. But it's still on the one I have in the Santos still says finished by Piaget.
But this enough.
They put the last screw.
I forgot the name of this lady who actually made these movements for Cartier at the time. It's one of the best watchmakers in current times, and it's a lady, and she was responsible for the high complications in Cartier and also developed these kind of movements. So they are actually really, really nice. It's a nice in-house movement. 2 barrels.
Yes.
48-hour power reserve. It's very precise. I mean, I'm very, very accurate. I'm very happy with it, but I understand it's the only Vacheron Constantin, and that's mine, that doesn't have an in-house movement. So
and it doesn't have Geneva seal.
Correct. And the only one that doesn't have a Geneva seal.
But again, if you look, because I have looked at the Vacheron and I've looked at the Piaget, and I can see the differences in finishing as well. So your watch has a gold rotor.
Yes.
And it's got the Maltese cross. The Piaget one just had I think stainless steel. I don't know what they use.
Yeah, I mean, I must say that it has the same gold rotor than the other Vacheron watches. And if you look at that, I have, I think, 5 different surface finishes on that rotor alone. So you have the anglage, you have polishing, sandblasting, brushing, and all of this stuff. It's insane. Just the rotor, I think they spent probably more time making the rotor than Rolex takes to assemble a watch.
Yeah. So if you look at IWC as well, I mean, they put on their website that these movements are IWC manufactured.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this, but look, I've been to their factory and I've seen them do these movements from start to end, and they do all the components as well themselves. So the finishing is quite different from what we expect as an entry-level movement as well.
Yeah. Where the thing is with IWC and other Richemont brands is like Panerai as well. If you see like Periscope when he does his deep dives, right, and he analyzes the shots that people take in the factory and says like, this factory has never made any of these pieces because this is a machine that can't do it. And also, so I think there's a lot of synergy that Richemont brands use where they produce certain parts, which is fine. I mean, look, car manufacturers do that. I'm driving a Volkswagen. My transmission, it's an 8-speed transmission. It's an Aisin, I think. Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that making anything? I mean, car manufacturers are a good analogy, I think, because their expertise is in assembling a car and designing a car, not necessarily producing every single part.
Which we talked about in our in-house movement episode, right?
Exactly.
We went into great detail on this.
Nobody makes their own brakes, or some do still, but it's rare. And
the transmissions are mostly outsourced.
Correct.
Electronics, radios, screens, all of these are outsourced.
Software even.
Yeah.
So it's
tires.
Weird.
No one car manufacturer makes tires.
Correct.
Which doesn't
Never
make
did.
sense. I mean, to me, that seems like a very, missed market, right? You could have easily jumped into that, vertical integrate everything and have your own tire company. Yeah. But
and I think, I mean, I'm driving Porsche today, so I have a Pirelli P0s on it, but I think the standard issue tire for my car was Michelin.
Yeah.
I think. Is it right? Yeah, it's right. I mean, a couple of manufacturers produce Porsche spec tires, but I think the original manufacturer at that time when I bought my car was Michelin. But that can change, right?
Yeah,
a year
later, by year.
It might be a different tire or a different model.
I have bought a car based on tires. And I have, because I did back in 2013.
You said your tires were worth more than your car.
No. This is not. So basically, back in 2013, I bought a Mini Cooper S. And this is back in the US, and they had two sitting on the lot with the identical specs.
Okay.
And one had was it Continental Sport Contact or whatever they call it, and the other one had Goodyears.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with the Contis.
Right.
So literally,
good choice.
Same exact car. So even in that model year, they had multiple tire suppliers.
German tires, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to me, it seemed like I'm getting a better, more expensive tire for the same amount of money. So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, so what are you wearing, Martin?
I'm wearing a watch.
That is very good. So you know what time it is.
I do.
Oh.
So I am wearing my Datejust 116234, the 36 millimeter Datejust silver dial Jubilee bracelet with the Super Jubilee. I guess the band itself is coined the name Super Jubilee because it has the integrated bracelet, the hidden clasp.
The hidden clasp, yeah.
Yep. So
my wife loves
bling,
this
bling.
hidden clasp and is very, very disappointed that their current 36 millimeter Jubilee doesn't have that anymore for the ladies.
I bought this in June or July of 2019, and they got discontinued in March. And I must have missed it. Like, I didn't realize that they discontinued because I wanted to buy a Datejust and I wanted to buy one with this clasp, but they never really showed the clasp of the new Datejust when they were launched at Basel World. So I didn't really care. I'm like, okay, it's the same one. I'll buy the new one. And then after a couple months, people started talking, they don't have the same bracelet anymore.
Right.
So then I had to hunt down somewhere, find the exact spec that I wanted, which was extremely hard. I found one in Frankfurt. So I was about to get on a plane to Frankfurt just to buy the watch because basically the flights would have been covered just by the VAT back.
Right.
So I wouldn't have had paid for anything. And I was literally, I was going to book a flight in that morning and leaving that afternoon.
That was in a time when the flights were still affordable. Right?
Exactly. Well, it doesn't even matter. I think it was a couple €100 each way. And then I would have gotten thousands back. But a friend of mine, I don't know where this watch came from. I think it was sketchy. In Mall of the Emirates. I bought it in Mall of the Emirates, but I had gone to Siddiqui countless times. And I asked the ladies at Mall of the Emirates and in Dubai Mall, here's the specification, here's the reference number, I want this watch. And then they would look in the system back when they would do this for you and nothing, right? And they would show me every single store and I wouldn't trust them. So I would say, can I see the screen? And they'd show, here you go, yeah. And it would show every single store number and it would say 0000. So one day my friend contacted the manager of MOE, the big Rolex store. And all of a sudden, there was one available. Not sure where it came from.
Just like that.
Just like literally overnight. And I was thinking, okay, well, I've asked, I don't know how many times. And this time, there was no wait lists and there was none of this stuff. So, or not as prevalent. So nobody cared about.
Remember the story I told you about this Casio G-Shock, the limited edition, the 30 pieces,
yes,
the solid gold one? That also was sold out. And 2 years after it was sold out, I was shown one in Dubai Mall. And he said, we got this. So where did it come from?
Exactly.
How did you find that out? Because it was brand new, right? I said,
I had totally given up. I gave up entirely. I was not going to find this watch. It was done. And then 2 months go by, and then all of a sudden there's one.
I think watch selling tactics could be one of the next topics for your podcast.
Yeah, we could. But anyway, I got 15% discount, so it's nice. Yeah. All right, Ralph.
So what am I wearing? I'm wearing an IWC Portofino chronograph. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So we have 2 IWCs.
Like yeah, exactly. Because of that, I of course chose that watch to take to wear today, right? Because I know we would record.
I don't have an IWC.
See, that's a.
I tried on today before I came here in Yas Mall. I tried on the Big Pilot 43 black with the leather strap.
I can fix you up with the Dubai Mall people. They're quite helpful.
Yeah, no, but my issue, and the price isn't too bad, $28,000.
Yeah. We've already met everybody we need to meet.
Oh yes, we do. Boutique. We do. Yes, correct. We do. We have some contacts. We'll say.
There's only one salesperson we deal with.
Yes, right? Exactly.
I used to have a Portofino before. It was actually my second IWC watch, but mine was just a 3-hander. And surprisingly, it was the only watch I got compliments on.
It's weird sometimes of what people actually compliment you, if you ever get compliments on a watch, which is super rare in any case.
Exactly.
Right? When I see this, sometimes people mention this in forums and stuff, saying, "Oh, that's my most complimented watch." And you're like,
who's giving these compliments?
I will tell you.
It's usually dudes in elevators. It's not the women.
People wearing hoodies and having a baseball bat.
Is that a real Richard Mille?
I was at the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, and then this lady approached me, and she told me, "My husband really likes your watch, but he's too shy to come and tell you that. Can you just hand it over to us just to look at it?" And I did. Apparently, the husband was too shy.
Yeah. So you still have the original one, or you took the fake one that they exchanged it with?
Behind the scenes.
I sold it to Watchbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful, but I think usually here
I think
no danger.
Especially at Louvre, it's going to be safe.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the topic today? Let's let Mahmoud. It was his idea. Okay. So what's the topic for today?
Yeah, because I think, was it a week ago, I approached Martin here and I told him, I really want you to cover this topic. What's the difference between collecting and buying, or just hoarding? Because, it in our hobby, it just reaches a point where you're just buying for the sake of buying, just to go after that high. And whether each of us has a collecting philosophy. So did that evolve? How did that start? It's a big topic.
That's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
So I start.
Go ahead.
Just self-proclaimed. I'm number one.
Because you have the smallest collection, yes.
No, not
clearly. We can take advice from you.
I think when I think about my collection, I always think like, okay, am I just a hoarder who can't part from watches? Because I always feel the separation anxiety when I think about selling this watch. Because oh no, I can't. Oh no, but not this one. Oh no, but let me sell the other one. Oh no, I can't do this. I have so many nice memories with this watch, or whatever it might be. And I think that's why I think I said this before. My collection is an opportunistic mess. It's not. And then I got when I post my collection, a lot of people compliment and say, like, "Wow, this is a very nice, diversified collection. It has everything. It is all, very thoughtful. You have all of these different brands and different functions and complications, and it's really cool. It's a very, very. It shows that you are a watch lover and not just following the hype." And I'm thinking, thanks for that praise, but I don't deserve it, because I just really bought opportunistic. Good deal, an auction, like my Type 20 from Breguet. I never really thought that I should buy a Brigade Type 20.
But was it always the case, or did that just evolve because of the current market?
I think this has always been the case, that if things fit my budget and I think it's a great deal, or I see a good price and I offer that price and I get it, I'm happy. And
so you have one that you're working on right now. It fits exactly into this niche, right? You have a trade that you're interested in.
Yes. Tell us,
and
please.
Once again, I asked you, only make a trade if you want the watch back. If you would have bought it normally.
Yeah, right? I say, so that's a bit of a different thing. But again, opportunistic, because
it is.
I'm selling my Panerai. I have a PAM 380.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a lovely watch. I like it. But some things have to go, and this is one of the ones that has to go now. So one person approached me and said, "Hey, I want to trade." And usually that's I want to sell something because I want to get
I want your date, Justin. I'll give you a Longines. It's a very good trade.
Now, or the best thing is when people say like, "I have a watch, but it's more expensive, so you give me yours and money." And I think like, no, my idea was I sell money. I wanted to make some money. Anyhow, so somebody approached me and said, "Hey, I have this Zinn U50.
And
I really like Zinn.
Yes, and me too. But
he's German.
He's
German.
And, yes.
How is it? I was telling him on the phone. I thought every German was like given one at, when they reached birth, or when they reached high school graduation. Here is your diploma. Here's your Zinn. Done.
Yes, that's true. We all get Zinn watches, right? I mean, we have.
So where's yours?
For free. Every German.
The government subsidizes the Zinn watches.
No, of course not. Yeah, so I'm hopefully doing that trade this afternoon. So I'm getting a partial payment for the watch, and then I'm trading in that Zinn. Wasn't my ideal choice because I actually wanted to reduce my watch collection. So I'm trying to get down to, in my main watch box, I have 24 watches, and I am trying to get down to 10.
Good luck. One in, one out. Except for the fact that that's not how you reach 10.
Does that include the Casios?
No. Casios never count.
G-Shocks don't count.
I listened to your last podcast. Yes, I know.
They never count.
No, there's no, the Casios are not in this watch box.
Okay.
They have their own Pelican case, rugged, like. It's probably the watch that doesn't need it.
I always felt stupid putting a G-Shock into a case. I feel like they should be thrown into a sock drawer. That's their normal habitat, right?
Yeah, with a couple of stones and some nails.
Whatever you want. And they'll come out.
And a grenade. I've seen that video of Nico Leonard.
And guns and knives.
I mean, there's no reason for you to protect the G-Shock. That's the whole point of it. Unless you have the gold one.
The solid gold,
exactly.
But Nico Leonard, he had one of these videos where he absolutely tortures one of his Casio watches. He drops it from a helicopter.
Yes, that was one of the early ones. Right? Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
He did it here in Dubai.
Oh, really?
Golf course.
The golf course, exactly.
Yeah. So
he hit it with the golf club, and everything was here, filmed here.
Yeah.
So, coming back to my collection, I think it's a bit opportunistic. Looking backwards, I see from the watches that I actually bought, I figured out what I actually like. I had a disproportional amount of GMT watches. So obviously I like GMT watches, but this was an observation that I did after I already had them, right? So there's a couple of things where, I usually like watches with date. I have a few without, but generally I like to have a date on a watch. And I like horology, so that's why I'm open to certain designs or,
experimenting,
exactly, where I think, okay, for the sake of that specific horological achievement or so, I'm willing to make compromises in maybe the color or other things that are not so important for me. Not always, right?
But can I ask you something? Do you think that your approach being opportunistic, is it because of the current market, or have you always been like this even before?
No, even before. That has been always like that. So, of course, during the hype market, it's a bit harder, right? Because then everything got more expensive. But I wasn't the person who said like, okay, I'm waiting for 3 years, sitting on my money and waiting for that one watch. I would say whenever I felt like time for a new watch. I have the budget in my watch budget, so let's find something. And then I would find something that speaks to me and that I fall in love with. That can be sometimes wrong, right? Sometimes you make mistakes, so you feel like, okay, I really like the watch, but I really just like looking at the watch. I don't like wearing it. And then you think, maybe not, right? It doesn't sit right on your wrist. It's not comfortable. Yeah. Sometimes you change the strap, it fixes it. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just, not for you. And then you trade. In the beginning, I was very bad at selling, but now I'm better at letting go. So yeah. So I'm trying this in now. See if I like it. If I like it, then great. Then I have to sell something else in my collection because I still need to reduce my watch collection. So trying to consolidate, right? I said this many times, but I really, really want to do it by the end of the year, right? So
let's see.
You don't have much time left.
But this is the first time I think you've mentioned this on the podcast, which means you are now held accountable.
Yeah. Okay.
So once again, guys, ladies and gentlemen, December 31st, Ralph will have 10 watches.
Note to yourself. Edit this out of the episode.
Counting G-Shocks.
Yeah, let's see. I really hope I get there. Maybe just trading for a few of the watches for one nicer one, or
I told you this.
Or just
I said you could literally take, how many? You have 24. So let's take away 15. Leaves you with 9. You sell 15 of them. You buy one insane watch.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, there's Seikos in it for like $1,000 or something. That's not super expensive, right?
So you move those. You know what I did? You move those to the G-Shock box. And it doesn't count. It's
yes,
magic.
And suddenly my box is empty.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Fantastic idea.
Just remove the nails and the grenades.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my collection philosophy a bit, so that I just keep an open mind and see what comes. Yeah, but I appreciate also when people have a more focused approach, right? But when I feel sometimes people going like, okay, but I want the Nautilus and I want the Royal Oak and I want this and I want this particular specific Daytona, and you think, yeah, but that's what everybody wants.
Yes.
Sometimes that's the easy way of collecting, because you just take the watches that are the most popular one. Of course, they're most popular for a reason, but I always feel like, come on, you can be a bit more individual. You can have a couple of these type pieces.
Strangely enough, I prefer the Submariner over the Nautilus. And I don't even like Rolex.
Wow. You don't like Rolex because you couldn't get a Rolex for the longest time, and that made you bitter.
I got one now, and I've had it for a year.
The OP.
Explorer 2.
Okay. Yeah, you have the white dial. Yeah, you have the OP before for your wife, right?
Yes, yeah.
Which I remember you told me you bought the same watch box that I have.
Yes.
And our watch box at the time, I don't know if you still have it or not.
The which one?
The green one, the Rapport.
Oh, yeah, I still have it.
Because
now it's my wife's box.
The green Rapport box. It's an 8-watch box. And it literally is Rolex green with the interior being the Rolex beige color, right?
Correct.
So it's literally a mimic of the traditional Rolex box. So in order to have put some Rolexes in it.
It's not only about not being able to get it, but I think, for example, I'm on the waiting list for so many other watches from Richemont brands, let's say. And some of them are Vacheron Constantin watches. And I know I'm not going to get them in the next couple of years, let's say, when I first put my name on it. But still, every time I go there to the boutique, I can have an hour-long conversations with the guy. I got invited to Watches and Wonders. I visited their factory.
Yeah. So how many people has Rolex invited to Watches and Wonders?
To a dinner.
Or a dinner or anything like that.
Or to their factory.
Or to their boutique.
Exactly.
Or even at the boutique.
This is the thing is I know, I understand. You are sick of this game that they're playing.
See, a friend of mine just got the call for his GMT Master 2. The dual tone one with the new one with a black and gray bezel on a Jubilee bracelet. And this watch, I was partial about it.
For what? Sorry? I
GMT Master 2 Rolex.
Oh, the Master 2. Okay.
Yeah. Steel and gold.
I heard Explorer 2 and I was thinking to myself, what are you talking about?
Black and gray bezel.
Yes.
With a Jubilee bracelet. And
the gold one.
Yes. Steel and gold.
Yep.
And I was a bit, I wasn't so sold on it when I saw the pictures, but man, that watch looks amazing in person. The gold is really nice. It's not as yellow as you might think. It looks a bit like rose gold. It's really amazing. That watch, perfect. But so we picked it up from the boutique together, and that experience, I don't know. It feels like, you got a 10-minute slot.
Yes.
You go into the boutique and there's a queue outside, and there's people. I mean, there's constantly people coming, going, picking up watches. Every second person walking in the store comes out with a bag. So if people tell you, oh, Rolex, they don't have anything to sell. No, not for people walking in, but they're constantly delivering.
And I'll tell you what, one of my friends, he's really interested in your Vacheron, the 56.
Okay.
He's in Saudi. Send them an email. He was a bit unsure whether it has Geneva seal or not. I told him it doesn't, but he just wanted to make sure. So he sent them an email, and within 24 hours, they called him from Geneva.
Yeah.
To respond to his query. And then they sent him an official letter, an email.
Yeah.
And he said all this happened within 24 hours, and he was so stunned, and he's not even a customer.
Yeah.
Which I think, once again, and this is what we felt about IWC as well, right? We walked in, we're not customers. I'm not. At least you have one, but I'm not. And the way they treated us was as if we've been customers for decades, right? And that is, once again, what is going to make me a customer.
Yes.
And once again, I'm trying on the big Pilot because it's
iconic,
awesome watch, right?
Yeah, that's very true. I think the Rolex experience was, you sit down, he brings the watch out on a tray, you look at it, you like it, it gets sized, he removes, he or she, the sales representative, removes all the stickers, takes your money, puts the box, takes out the box, brings all of the stuff that they have in the back, right? Box, papers, all of the stuff, activates the warranty, puts it all together, puts it in a bag, shakes your hand. You have your.
It's very transactional.
Water. Yeah, it is.
I mean, and you think okay, my friend has a good profile. He gets lots of watches from Rolex. It's not just, probably more than one a year, right? So it's it happens quite often. But if you feel, for so a lot of people, this is the once in a lifetime thing. That's like you are treating yourself to a milestone watch or something.
Correct.
And you think that's a bit sad. And you just 10 minutes, you go buy, as if you buy a shampoo from a
supermarket
or something. Yeah, it's not that.
I agree entirely. I think the experience is garbage. Maybe if you're lucky, you get they give you a bottle of water.
Yeah.
And that's roughly all you're getting, right?
And only if you ask for it.
And only if you ask for it. Meanwhile, we went to Cartier on Monday, this was in Galleria Mall. And all we went was, once again, I mentioned this in a previous episode as well, Cartier, they have the Trinity bracelet, the cord bracelet, and you can change the color of your straps on this bracelet for free. And we went in, we didn't spend a single dirham, right? My wife has 2 of these Trinity bracelets. She said, okay, I want 2 new colors. The guy said, while you're here, why don't you get the rest of your jewelry? She has like 4 Cartier rings and God knows what else. She said, why don't you get them clean? We'll clean them for you. It'll take 15 minutes. We'll bring them back. Boom, done. So in the meantime, they offered us snacks. They offered us, sparkling water, everything, the works, coffee, and we didn't spend a single dirham. And this is why
Richemont again.
I love Cartier. Yeah. And yes, Richemont. JLC, same situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have never been disappointed with a JLC experience. Actually, yes, I have. That's a lie. But this was a while ago.
Yeah.
But now we should move to your collecting strategy.
Why? Why wouldn't we talk about yours? We're talking about you now.
I started the question.
So.
Okay. All right. I'll do mine. So I have previously, I know that I've hoarded. I know for a fact I've bought stuff for the simple fact, as you said, is I'm chasing the thrill of just buying something or getting something new.
The hunt for it, yeah.
Everybody here knows this.
The
I've mentioned this.
kick.
Yeah. And then within 2 days or 3 days, I sell it. So sometimes I don't lose so much money. Sometimes I might make a few dirhams. But generally speaking, when I look at the collection, I have one picture of the whole collection that I keep on my phone as a favorite, right? And I look at it and I want to look at it and see like what brings everything together, right? Why are all these things in my watch box? First and foremost, I have thought about, I used to do this in the past. Well, I already have a green, or let's say I already have a black dial. So now my next watch should be blue dial, right? I avoid this. I do not do this. I buy every watch as a standalone watch. It should be by itself a one watch collection. If you can tick that box, I don't want to just add to my collection as this is a substitute for something else, or as, I don't want to say, I can't get a sub, so I'm going to go get a tutor instead, right? I want to buy the tutor for what it is. I want to buy the sub for what it is, right? And I think this is the logic that I've realized I've grown to use is every watch should be a standalone watch. And then you have a collection that comes together.
Yeah, because your collection in itself is nobody knows your collection. Everybody sees you with a watch, a single watch.
Yes.
The collection is only for very weird people who look at somebody else's collection, which is usually very rare.
No. For me, I'm looking at my collection of myself, but I want to leave the house with a watch that nobody else, as you said, nobody else knows what your collection is. So every watch I'm wearing to the people I meet or in my mind, that is my one watch. And I want that watch to have a story, to have a background, whatever you want to say, right? It could be iconic. But that's the way I feel about it. Is I want to be able to, but then again, at the same time, I will wear my G-Shock.
Yeah. See, this is the thing when people are saying collection reviews, right? This is what a bit of my pet peeve. And I'm saying like, let's have a look at your collection and I give you my thoughts on it. And I think it's like a fingerprint. It's very unique. It has the only audience for this collection is one person, and that's yourself.
Yep.
If it makes you happy, looking at your watch box, and it has all Submariners with black dial from whatever 1950 to today, and that's what you want to collect.
So, but this is the thing. Is the thing is in everything else, I have the mentality that I stick with one brand. So, for instance, you look at my perfume cologne, whatever not even that. Just look at my perfume collection, right? Collection. I only buy one brand because I don't know too much about it, right? So I found one brand that I like and I buy it. So for me, I have 5 different Creed
ad placement.
I love Creed. You look at my sunglasses. So, I don't know.
Wait a second. I have to go back to Creed. So do you also realize the different batches and the different
no because I buy everything at the outlet at base market prices. I just know I like Creed generally speaking because a lot of the times different at the outlet you cannot open it, you cannot smell it, right? So in this case, generally speaking, I can look at base notes, I can look at mid notes, top notes written down on the reviews, and I know that whatever this says, Creed will make it so that I would like it, right? So I've never had a Creed that I didn't like.
So you have Aventus and then Silver Mountain thingy bobs. Water.
I don't have those because I haven't seen them on sale.
Because they're heavy sellers, right? Yeah.
No, I have the Green Irish Tweed. I have the the vetiver, original vetiver, which is one of my favorites.
What does vetiver and patchouli and all of this stuff? I mean, I hear this all the time.
Yes.
I have no idea how they smell.
I just stick to one brand of perfume and that's it.
Okay. Patchouli is extremely earthy. I don't like the smell. Okay. Vetiver is a green, fresh grass, which if you imagine something that's like a very fresh meadow, that is what it would smell like.
I looked at it.
I learned all
a couple of these fragrance reviewers, and I think like, they can explain these fragrances so well, and say, it's super ISO, super E, super whatever, and then there's so much of this and this, and you go like, my God, I don't even know how it smells.
I'm sure this is how they look at us as well.
Talking
about watches.
No. For instance, but they also give you the most recent one I bought, if I can remember, I don't even remember the name. It was a blue bottle. I'm blanking on the name, but anyway, the description was Amalfi Coast saltwater, and I'm like, how can you not like that? Like, it's supposed to smell like you're on a yacht in the Amalfi Coast.
The Amalfi Coast is special.
And I'm like, I'm okay with this, right? So this is kind of the stuff that the way they describe it, I can picture it, I can understand it, and I buy it. But I'm not a collector. Once again, I buy what I know. If you tell me
this smells of worn tennis socks,
sure.
Then I know.
Which brings me to that question that I raised just before the podcast. So definitely you have other collecting hobbies. It's not just watches.
Yes. So I only, for sunglasses, I only go for Persil.
Okay.
I have like 5 different Persils. But once again, the big thing here is
see, this is where I'm again super opportunistic. I can wear Prada, Tom Ford, whatever, Zegna.
For me, I
don't
find
care.
what I like, and I stop caring.
A nice sunglass, and then that's it. I wouldn't limit myself to a specific.
No, I limit myself because I don't like making options. I don't like options. I don't like choices. I want to stick to one thing. I want to streamline my life as much as possible. I have 15 of the same.
So why
t-shirt.
do you have? Yeah,
I'm not joking. I have 6 of the same pair of shorts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't choose. I don't have colors of, my boxers are all the same color. I don't choose anything. I have literally duplicates. And this is, my OCD, I guess. But what's funny is the one thing that I vary. So all of my dress shirts, by the way, they have different colors, but same brand, same fit, same everything. All my blazers, same brand, same fit, same everything. Shoes, I stick to certain brands. But with watches, I don't do this. With watches, I have numerous brands, and it goes against what I do with everything else.
So do you have an overarching strategy, or do you feel attracted to a certain type of a watch?
I think so. So for me, it's very simple watches, generally 3-handers, no date. We know this. Then I will have an inkling like, okay, I want one GMT. I want one chronograph. I want one thing with a date on it. Just so I have one, right? Just so you can experience something different, something new. And then if I want to say, okay, I want to wear a watch with the date, I have my date just. I want to say I want to wear a chronograph, I wear a Speedy. So this is kind of the idea.
So where is the line really is drawn where you think that there are too many similarities that they start overlapping?
And this is the thing is I have a lot of overlap. So for instance, you look at my, some would argue that the Reverso and the Cartier Santos have a lot of overlap. I don't care. For me, they're totally different.
I don't see it. But I've seen people, for example, who only collect
square
Calatravas.
silver dial.
Just because it's not round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it the same. So this is coming from my wife, obviously. She doesn't listen, so I can say whatever I want. But yeah, imagine.
That can change.
So once again, I would say that there's a lot of similarity between a sub and my Explorer 1. Both black dial sport watches from Rolex, very plain, very, no date watches. Overlap. Between my 2 Grand Seikos, a lot of overlap. So at what point, I stopped caring, ultimately. If I want the watch, if I like the watch, it needs to stand alone. It has nothing to do with the others in the collection. So if I were to literally have 8 watches in the collection, if I could only keep one, I would have an argument for each one. And that's ultimately where I want to be. Mm-hmm. Right? I can argue that this is my one watch, or I would keep this watch, or it would have to be, like my children.
It is my struggle right now. I've got a reason for each one.
Now this is me, but let's move on to you. You came in last time. You said you had an 8 watch box,
and you're limiting your children.
Yeah, my watches would be, what the people that say.
How many children do you have? I thought you only.
No, I'm saying. My watches are my children.
Is there something you want to tell us?
Yes, my watches are my children. I've birthed.
Let's hope your wife doesn't listen.
No, besides my real child, obviously. I do have. No, she's just another watch. Okay. No, ultimately what it comes down to is when somebody has 5 children, they always say, I couldn't choose between them, right? Of course. And that's how you should feel about the watch.
I'm just pulling your leg.
I know.
I understood that.
All right, moving on. Mahmoud.
Yes.
So the question is, you came in last time, you said, I have 8 watches. I have an 8 watch box. I'm not going to go beyond this. But then you bought 2 watches since then.
I actually had 8 watches. You're correct. But I had a 10 watch box.
And here we go again.
Okay,
exactly.
Got it. But once again, this goes back.
My problem is I bought this bloody big.
I just have to fill it.
Yes,
makes sense.
It sucks. It's the worst.
This was my mistake.
It is. Yeah. It is. And I said, when I had 3 watches, I bought the 8 watch box because I don't know, maybe my collection will grow. Literally, I don't know. 3 months later, 8 watches.
So you did you sell it or some, or you still have 8, or do you?
Now I have 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've just added 2 watches to the collection in quick succession.
Mm.
And I think I was watching a Waco video recently, from Revolution Watches, and he was talking about how your collecting journey. I think it really resonated with me because he said in the beginning, you just have your stainless steel watch. That's what you usually start with, something with good water resistance and something with, just you can do whatever you want with it, just knock it about and doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For me, that was a Tag Heuer, and then later on a Seamaster.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, then you want to look cool, you're young, and you want to have these tool watches like a Submariner and a Panerai and IWC, which is also a phase I went through as well. And then he says, and then you start looking at classic watches and vintage and gold watches and, traditional watchmaking. And then you start looking at independence and special movements. And I think I'm still at that vintage and gold watches phase, third phase. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where that's going to take. I still am interested in some of the independents. Of course, FP Journe, I don't even know whether we should call him I mean, he's well known now. He's independent when it comes to structure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 20% of his is owned by Chanel, but yes, he's still independent.
I think honestly, his designs are just incredible. He's revolutionized, watchmaking and design. He's got his own design language. I would love to own one of his pieces, but I also heard that they break down all the time.
Really?
From a couple of collectors.
I don't know. I heard this about the guy that owns the Armory in Drake's. I forgot his name. Mark Cho, I believe.
Yeah.
He had an FP Journe, and I don't know if you know the story about this, but he had an FP Journe he bought from some dealer. Yeah. It broke down, as you were saying. Yeah. He sent it off to service. Turns out it was stolen from the Paris boutique.
Wow.
So they confiscated
it. See, this is so bad.
Apparently he tells the story time and time again. But he sold, I believe he told it on Revolution as well. But basically what happened was, so they took it back. And then he's like, well, now I don't have I worked for this. I wanted this for so long. And then he got into a relationship with FP Journe, the brand. Apparently they found out that they have a lot of clients, mutual clients. So they started hanging out, doing Armory events at FP Journe store. And then they're doing FP Journe events at the Armory. And this is New York and Hong Kong. And basically through this relationship, they said, okay, well, would you like another watch? Well, we feel bad. What happened? So he said, would you like to design your own watch?
Wow.
And so he got a custom one of one. No, I think he made 20 or 10 or something. But he sold them through the Armory. But he kept one. He made a full, honest, unique design. And then he got a contact. He said, okay, the insurance is done with the stolen watch. You want to buy it back? And he bought that one back too. So he ended up with the same watch back at a reasonable price. He got his money back from the original seller after a long, court case.
I guess.
No, it was a court case. They refused. They said, we bought it from this guy. You can go after that guy.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You have to go. This is the
step
problem.
By step.
You can't just say like, I was just in between, so please go to this person.
And that's what he said.
It goes first to you because you sold it. The contract is very clear, right? And then you have to go back to this other person. But
so everyone refused to help him. So he did he ended up getting his money back through a court case.
Good for him.
But he ended up buying the watch for less through the insurance company. But go on.
Not bad. So you will now have either a separate watch box for these two watches. I mean, look,
no, he had a 10 watch box.
You have 10. Okay.
He only had 8 watches. It wasn't full.
I always say like, okay, there's space for one more then because you wear one. 10 in the box, 1 on your wrist.
All right. There you go. That is good because I might get a call soon around my birthday, but I don't want to.
From who?
VC.
VC. Okay.
Yeah. So
is it a 222?
No, I don't have the budget. I would love one, but I would have to sell half my collection. It's great, but also
the overseas blue dial,
perhaps
dual time.
No, just
300. Okay.
Yeah.
But they have increased the prices recently as well.
It's over 90 now, I think. Yeah. But the
dual time, I think, is 117 now, or a bit more.
I think 117. Someone was selling one, I think, today.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Today.
Yeah.
Yes,
But so I think how I've moved from Tag Heuer and the Omega Seamaster is that how I was first introduced to mechanical watches was IWC. And to me, that was always the goalpost. I'm going to get myself a big pilot. I'm going to stop there. And then I got myself a Mark 18 just because I couldn't afford the big pilot at the time. And then a few months later, I got myself the Portofino. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the Top Gun, the Ceratanium, and I thought, okay, this one, I would sell these two to get that one. So I did that. And then you started, picking up all these watches that are now, they have a theme. I think I bought the most watches from IWC.
Yep.
And
but now you only have one.
I have two.
Oh, you have two? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, now you have two. Yes, correct.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
So, and then, you just move along. The thing is, my collection now is very spread out. I try to always have a different complication or from a different manufacturer. Mm-hmm. So I have a watch from almost each manufacturer now that I like, except for JLC. I bought one JLC at one point of time. I don't have it anymore, but I would like to get myself the chronograph, the reversal chronograph that they just released.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I've got now one Patek, one AP, one Lange, one Rolex. So it just moves like that.
Yeah. When you started wearing watches, would you have ever thought that you will have a collection like this?
Not at all. I didn't even have a collecting strategy.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is what I think is always very often we are getting in this collecting hobby and we are getting in this hamster wheel a bit, right? When you think and you see in our watch groups that we are all part of, everybody posts their new acquisitions and you get like, oh my God, what's, and you feel this bit of like, man, nothing happened to my collection in the last half a year or year. I need to do something about it. And then you should actually compare yourself to your own self just a few years back. Yes. Look at your collection and think, Jesus, I'm blessed. I'm happy. I should just be happy with what I have and not strive always for the next one and the bigger one and everything else. Yep. Because I also never thought I would have, just a collection that also has some Rolex in it. Yes. Right? For example, when I was younger, I thought like, no. One
Rolex and that's it.
If I ever would get a Rolex, that would be the pinnacle of my life, right? Yeah. I would marry that watch.
But also we didn't know that there was anything above it either, right? So I always felt this way. You get started, you aspire to own a Rolex. Then you get into the hobby a little bit more and then you downplay Rolex.
Totally.
And I had this, and I was like, why would you buy a Rolex when you can buy a Seamaster 300?
Which is a much better watch.
Which is a much better watch.
And half the price.
And half the price. Exactly. And then you get your first Rolex and you're like, oh, I get it now.
It is also, I think you're mature. I mean, we all change, right? Our taste changes. We are.
I wouldn't say I'm mature, but my tastes have definitely changed.
Again, I appreciate Rolex as a watch manufacturer and as with their design aesthetics as well. I really like them for what they are. I just don't like the overhype, the propaganda, all the politics that are in, you get yourself involved in.
But the Explorer 2 that you have, that you both have, if the prices go up on it, it still makes you happy. Because now your watch that you already bought is worth more.
But this is the thing, that watch, it's the watch that I wear the least, or I have worn the least. I think I've only worn it about 10 times since I bought it in that last year. And I'm really pressed to sell it because I like to wear all my watches. But I'm just thinking it's money just being kept there and it will go up in value. Just leave it.
Buy something else that you're wearing more.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But I disagree with this. I disagree with it. I have watches that I wear every day, and I have watches that I wear once in a very long while. I still wouldn't sell any of them because as of now, in this 8 watches that I have, when I want to wear that watch once a month, I want it to be there.
That's fine if that's what you want. But if Mahmoud, for example, thinks like I'm just not enjoying that much.
But are you still enjoying the watch when you wear it 10 times?
That's the thing. Rolex, this particular Rolex, no. But for example, I've got a Speedmaster as well, and I love space and I love the whole story behind it. And for me, even though I don't wear it as often, I wear it more than the Rolex, that's first of all. And I would just keep it. It comes with that big box.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's an iconic watch.
So you're telling me that, I feel the same way about a GMT Master 2. I don't think it's the watch for me. For me, it's a Submariner, right? We said this numerous times. And ultimately, you have to love the inherent nature of the watch, right? As you said, you love space, so it's Speedmaster.
I think it was when you, which I said before, when you enjoy that watch, even if it's enjoying it in your watch box, you just enjoy looking at it.
And that's another thing. You don't have to wear the watch.
That's fine. But if you don't enjoy looking at it, you don't enjoy owning it, you don't enjoy wearing it really that much, then you can probably swap it
Trade
into
it.
something
Yeah.
that is
But would you have
more
bought something
your-
else if you walked into the store? And I'm assuming this is what they had. But is this the watch you were looking for, or were you looking for something else, or did you just buy it because that's what was there?
No, at the time I was on the waiting list for this watch for I think 2 years here in Dubai. Never got the call, and then I was in Egypt, and I literally walked in. It was there. They had one available, and for me, I was waiting for that watch because I travel a lot and I wanted something with a GMT function, something that I can wear while traveling. And the problem is I cannot wear Rolex while I'm traveling anymore.
Yes, and this is one of the things that I'm
just
looking at.
ruin the whole experience.
So why buy a GMT when you can't travel with it? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. But here in Dubai, we can wear them, right? So ultimately it comes down to, if I lived somewhere else, would I have 3 Rolexes in my box? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it depends where you travel to. I think sometimes we are probably a bit overcautious because of the news that we hear. I mean, there's still 50,000, 100,000 people with watches, with higher level watches in London going to work every day with their watches on, thousands, hundreds of thousands of them that are not getting robbed.
Yeah, so this is ultimately what it comes down to.
Is it dangerous? Sure, I don't want to downplay that.
No, it's not that it's dangerous. It's the fact that there's added danger, right? There's an added level of risk that you don't have to have.
Correct, and it makes you anxious. But then on the other hand, sometimes you feel like, okay, is this warranted that we are all so anxious about these things? And then maybe it is, but I'm just saying it depends. So many other countries. I've been traveling with my Explorer 2 recently to Scandinavia, to a couple of countries there, and that is not a problem.
But I think Scandinavia have some of the lowest crime rates, I think, around the world. Everyone is very wealthy.
Depends
as well.
where you go. Some cities not so much, but generally, yes, you're right. It's very safe. And you see people wearing Rolexes, that are working in restaurants and stuff like that. It's not as the wealth gap is not so big between certain people. But then Africa, you can go. I mean, I told the story before. I met a person who wore his Patek in Zimbabwe on safari. And I said, "Are you wearing a Patek?" He said, "Yeah, I was wearing a G-Shock at the time because I'm on safari, right?"
It's my travel watch.
And he said, "Yeah, he was from London." And he basically told me the story. I can't wear this watch in London. I got nearly mugged for my watch. I was lucky I could escape. But there was somebody trying to steal my watch. And I'm taking this watch to Africa because here I can wear it. I'm safe here.
Yep.
And you think that is not necessarily what some other people would think, but that's sometimes the case.
Yeah, I wore my Explorer all around Egypt. No one even looked a second time on my wrist. No one cared. No one knew what this is. No one cared.
Most people don't. Yeah, that's true. If you're not in this, I mean, if you're going to Barcelona and other places, any big tourist capitals of the world, I think there's crime, there's pickpockets, there's all of these things. When there's lots of tourists, there will always be the chance of some scammers and other people. That's everywhere, and you have to be a bit aware of your surroundings, I think. So next, besides your call, Mahmoud, that you will get on your birthday, hopefully. Crossing fingers for that.
Hopefully they listen to the podcast.
Yes, absolutely. They have to. We are in the charts in Switzerland. So we are there in the top 50 of podcasts in the hobby category. So I guess there are some people listening to us. So please, if you know somebody from that company that starts with V,
please let them know.
Ends in Ashran Constantine. So anyway, the other thing I want to mention, by the way, is I don't like when people say I don't wear this watch. It's in my watch box, but I don't. Or
but you just said that.
No. I'm saying it wrong. I should rephrase this. Pause. Let me rephrase. I don't like it when people complain that someone says I have a watch sitting in my box that I don't wear.
That's what I did,
and I think that's totally fine because I look at my watches more than I wear them. And honestly, because once again, I'm wearing one watch and looking at 7, and in that mentality, I strongly believe if you were to get an MB&F, legacy machine, you're not wearing it every single day. You're going to wear it once a month, maybe. And at that point,
probably is.
You're looking at it as
you're
art.
wearing it at home.
Perhaps around your ankle.
Yeah, it's massive, but you're looking at it more, and that's the whole purpose of it, right? Why would you get it? Let's talk about an Atmos clock, for instance, right? You're going to buy an Atmos to look at. You're not wearing it. It's not doing anything for you, right?
It's a desk clock.
Yes,
it's a clock.
But you could put a watch on your desk for the same thing, right?
Yeah, but it's pretty.
Exactly. So you're looking at it. You just answered the own question.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's fine.
That's fine, is what I'm saying.
The purpose of this watch is not to carry it around because it's a clock.
Yeah. So it's okay to buy things because they look good.
That's one of the things that the Atmos people will tell you.
The
from
diaphragm,
JLC, do not move that watch. And don't put it anywhere where it's shaky. Not on a table that can shake. Just put it on something very stable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, behaviors change as well, as I said in the beginning, because of the market. So whenever you get an opportunity to go and get a watch, sometimes you have to act on that opportunity, even though in your plan, maybe you wanted that watch sometime in the future, not currently. So we don't miss out on it. And unfortunately, this has now become part of our hobby.
Some people have told me that they are not wearing their watches anymore because the secondary value got so high. I said, well, I bought this, $12,000 Daytona for retail price when I could get it in a store. And now that watch is worth $50,000 at the peak of the hype, right? He said, now I don't feel like wearing it anymore because I feel like, it's so much of value on my wrist suddenly. And you think, nice problems to have.
No, I mean, I think, we often treat our watches like when you buy them. I bought my sub for like $6,000 US brand new, right? I treat it like a $6,000 watch as opposed to a 10,000 or whatever it is now, right? So this is one of the issues that we often have is we forget, or at least it's the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Is I try not to keep up with how much things are worth, and I like to use them for what they are. Inherently tools.
You should still wear it. I mean, I think the first scratch on any watch,
it's the most painful.
Hurts really very deep. After that, it's fine. But I feel personally always like when I have a new watch, you feel like, I shouldn't wear it too often. I should keep it pristine. But then you think, no, I should wear it because it's a new watch and I've paid a lot of money for it, so I should get my value out of it, right? So, but then you scratch it the first scratch, and you go like, oh damn. And that hurts a few days.
I have a scratch on my rim, my car rim. It's a Porsche Boxster, and then of course it was so painful. And I always noticed it first thing. I just go to my car, so every single day I was looking at it, feeling the pain. And now I don't even look at it. Yeah, I'm just living with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But have you made any watch collecting mistakes? I can admit to some.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So for me, I think I bought watches that were too similar because I wanted to start something as if, you want to collect watches that are similar. So you see that transitions or, the small differences. For example, there are people who just collect Submariners or just collect Calatravas. But for me, I bought two different watches from IWC. One of them was the double chronograph, Ceratanium, and the other was it was a world timer, also Ceratanium, which was even bigger if you can.
Yeah, I remember that.
46 millimeter.
This is the one where you press down the
exactly
to move. Yeah.
So, and then the thing is, it was just too big, and there were some design elements in there that I just couldn't understand much. I didn't know before buying them. Like for example, in order to set the date, you had to just rotate the wheel 24 hours. And if you're so far off from the date, you just have to do it so many times in order to set the date. And they don't really need a date on the watch anyway. It's an add-on. As we said before, I think IWC always add the date window on the watches.
Yeah.
Just ruin the whole symmetry of the whole dial as well. And it's the only window on the dial with a different color as well. So we've got two other windows, I think, in there, which with the black matching dial. Weird, and then this is white all by itself. So I had to let go of it. And now, I have a Piaget Polo with a very similar dial to this IWC, very similar color. But in this instance, I'm going to keep both.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a topic for another episode, maybe the next one. Collecting mistakes.
We did that already.
We did. Yeah, we talked about it.
We talked about Mahmoud. Okay. All right. So,
yeah.
All right. But anyway, I hope you guys learned something.
Many mistakes. Like a 47 millimeter pilot watch that I thought was really, really cool with a sandwich dial in silver. it looked like the biggest hockey puck on my.
Or
on
there's a
my
necklace.
Yeah, Flavor Flav from Public Enemy.
Exactly. So, all right, on that bombshell, I think it's time to end. Once again, follow us on Instagram, message us.
Thank you, Mahmoud, for being with us.
And yes,
thank you for
It was
having
a
me.
pleasure, and thank you for showing us the new Ingenieur, which we didn't really talk much about. So we have to do this another time now.
Exactly.
I would love to.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.